order the City of Joliet pre-council meeting for October 4th, 2021. The Honorable Mayor Bob Oderkirk presiding. Mayor?
Krista?
We'll begin with roll call. Mayor Oderkirk.
Here.
Councilman Clement.
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Here.
Councilman Guerrero.
Here.
Councilman Hug.
Don't you guys already regret for voting for me to be pro tem? Here.
Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Coleman. Here. Councilwoman Reardon. Here. First on the agenda this evening is citizens to be heard on agenda items. First is Jordan Keeling regarding Council Memo 464-21.
Members of the council, Mayor Oderkirk, good evening. My name is Jordan Killian. I'm an attorney, and I'm here tonight on item 464-21, representing the Citgo gas station located at 609 Ruby Street here in Joliet. I just wanted to put a face to the name of this application. My client, Saji, the owner, is here tonight, and he can address any questions or concerns that anyone might have over the application for the liquor license at that location. I just want to tell you a little bit about Saji. He purchased the Citgo gas station 5 years ago. He also owns 4 other gas stations throughout northern Illinois. All 4 other gas stations, he does have liquor licenses at those, and he's owned them respectively 7 years, 6 years, 5 years, and 4 years. So in the terms of his ownership, he has about 20 years of experience having liquor licenses. He has no infractions on any of those liquor licenses. At the 609 location on Ruby Street, he employs 3 full-time employees. All 3 employees have been there since the start of his ownership, 5 years. So this is not a fly-by-night situation there. You're dealing with a good owner who is a good employer and has loyal employees. All of his employees and himself is Bassett certified. And what we're really looking for is an approval of his application. And we're trying to see that the city council gives this small business owner a fair shake as other people who are similarly situated. So with that, I thank you for your consideration. If there are any questions, we would be happy to address them as Saji is present here tonight, and he will be also tomorrow. And with that said, we thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael Graham regarding Council Memo 463-21. Thank you.
Council members, Mayor Oderkirk, thank you for allowing me to present. My name is Michael Graham, and I'm the owner of Graham C-Stores Company. We operate 28 gas stations in the Chicagoland area, 13 of which have liquor licenses. Our employees are all Bassett trained. We also employ a company called the Bars Company, where they are, we hire them to come in and ghost shop our employees to try to buy without a license and proper identification. And that way we use that to train our employees and make sure that no one is getting this alcohol at the wrong age. I'm here for our gas station in Joliet, 4802 Kenton Farm Road. And we have 10 employees there. We hope to have our DG liquor license application approved. And we believe that we're in a commercial area. They're residential, but not close. We're insulated by commercial on all sides. And we believe it appropriate for us to handle this sort of license. And that's all, unless you have any more questions.
Any questions?
Could you give a bit of an explanation about the final page here?
Yes.
This is for
Okay.
your other locations?
Yes, in your packets, it starts with a brief history of our company. It's coming up on our centennial next year, 1922 to 2022, third-generation company. Next is a picture of our Joliet gas station. And then following that is another angle. Again, after that is a layout of what we plan to do along with this. If we happen to get this liquor application, we would completely redo the inside of the store, build that gaming area, put in better coolers for liquor and such, or beer and wine, I think is what the application calls for. And then finally, the final page, we have 3 other locations that have a pour license in order to get gaming. And I just wanted to illustrate how few gamers do not, when they go into game, they're not looking to drink. And you can see by those numbers, a month will go by and we'll sell in some places 5 cans of beer. We also price the beer at, not at a gouging level, but not at a special level. Our intent is not to sell a lot of beer. And the intent of the gamer, the area that we have cordoned off is not a bar, quote unquote. It's not a place where you're gonna sit down and have your consumption of alcohol. It's more of a means to an end, to get the gaming in the location, which is very profitable for myself, the retailer, but also very profitable for the municipality. So it's very important for us to get this in order to compete with other locations similar to ours that have this license. So if you can see, it's selling the beer is at an extreme minimum. All these other locations, we haven't had a single problem with the police. The gamers are very mild-mannered. They're there to concentrate. They generally are drinking coffee. That's the type of customer that we tend to get at our locations, and with these other locations we've had for 3 and 4 or 5 years without a single problem. So it's a very mild-mannered group.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council members, you guys know my name is Kathy Garthis from Better Road here. On this thing, the agenda is 69-21. Actually, properties on Better Road here, Joliet, and this. When I went to the pre-city council, the planning committee meeting about this, it showed a big circle, and the circle was like, kind of like through my mom's house. So that's why I tried contacting fellow councilmen, the city manager. I wanted to get a hold of the city manager. He didn't want to talk to me. Mayor, you don't want to talk to me about getting this straightened out, what this thing is about. If you guys are planning on annexing front part of my mom's property or what, I don't know. Also with the construction that's out there, what has happened out there, made it very hard for me to get out of my driveway. Extended from my mom's property, the old driveway, out to that new road that they redid now for Center Point. It's 44 extra feet added to my driveway. And I have to go to try to back out onto the new road. But this thing with the zoning here, like I said, with the planning committee map, it did show the big circle, and I looked at that circle, blew it up, and it showed it like going through my mom's property, right through the house, in fact. Is that what you guys are looking to zone the front half of my mom's property?
But after the meeting, you speak with the corporation counsel, she probably can answer your questions for you.
Who's that? Who's that?
Serena,
Okay,
thank you.
thanks, Bob.
Sure.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening? Seeing none, the city manager will now discuss the items on tomorrow's agenda.
Your Honor,
Yes.
if I might, before the city manager reviews tomorrow night's agenda, I just want to make a public statement and a public comment. We have had an issue that everybody's aware of, and it is the alley issue. We have gone through this. The residents in that area did exactly what was told to them to do, to to close this alley off. It has been closed for 8 years. And it was reopened, and the way to close it again, and they were given that process. I spoke to 2 city managers about this issue. I brought it here on the dais and spoke again about it. But here is, on last Friday, I contacted city manager and asked, because the ordinance had been run back through legal, land use and legislative, had been put on the agenda with full committee approval to be brought back to the council for approval. That's all I ask, a up and a down vote, or a up or a down vote on this particular issue. City manager, the 3 times I talked with city manager Caparelli, I'll get to it, I'm doing other things, or I'll tweak it, I'll do this, but nothing. I took it to city manager Hawk. He was here during the time the issue was raised about this. City manager Hawk instructed me what to do, what procedure to do to make sure we got the surveys back in. Our residents had a time to reply, and we did that. I handed those surveys to city manager Hawk at the time. He looked at them, he said, okay, they did follow. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna close the alley. Nothing happened. And when he told me that, there was another council person with me that heard the conversation. So now it has gone to city manager Caparelli. I contacted him last Friday for a request to at least put it on the agenda, and no response. Thursday morning, I get a call from the mayor, who is absolutely shouting about this issue.
No, that's not accurate, Betty.
No, let me,
no.
may I finish, sir?
I didn't yell at you or shout at anybody. You're not gonna mischaracterize the conversation we had.
Your tone to me, Mayor.
And quite frankly, I think your comments
Your
are
tone-
inappropriate at this point. So move on, we're gonna go on with the agenda, but don't misrepresent what I told you, what I said
You're
the other
not
time.
going to allow me to finish my statement.
Well-
I am not going to be ignored, nor am I going to be bullied.
Okay, me
This
neither.
is not the right person
You're not
to
gonna bully
do
me either,
that
Betty,
to.
by lying about a
But
phone conversation.
I'm not lying. If you let me finish my conversation, Mayor, and let me make my statement, and then I will be ready and willing to listen to you. But when you called me, and it was others in my office went ahead who can attest to the tone
And there were
of
others in my
this.
car who heard the conversation.
Well, I
to
tell
attest
you
to the
what,
tone.
we've got others. That's what we got.
So do I.
But here is what I'm saying. When something is passed through committee, we expect for it to be handled. We cannot fix what we cannot face.
Did you
So
ask the
if
city
this
manager
is-
tonight what his intentions were? Have you spoken with him?
Listen, I have talked to the city manager so many times that I don't want to talk to him
Why don't we do
because I
this?
don't want to do this.
Jim, what are your intentions with this issue?
Well, Mayor, I was going to address this tomorrow, actually, but clearly I'm going to send it back to land use and legislative. There's several problems with this that I can see. One is notice to the residents. How is that done? Right now, we just have one person walking around getting a piece of paper signed. We require builders to send certified letters to everyone who may be affected by that. I think that's something that we need to look at. I think it's the time of notification also. Do we allow this to go on for months and months while they wait to get to the magic number, whatever that number may be? And then what happens when somebody wants to get it reclosed? How long do we keep it open for? Is that ad nauseum? Can people, what rights or responsibilities to the other neighbors that take place? How long do we give people an opportunity to respond to these these things. And also the legal responsibility then the city has. We have an alley that's closed, it's a public right-of-way, it's a utility right-of-way. So how do we address that? And also, why are we even doing this by ordinance? Other municipalities don't do any of this via ordinance. If it's a good idea, they close the alley. If it's not, they don't. And then that moves on to other issues in terms of what happens with streets. We've had people try to turn cul-de-sacs into private roadways.
This is not
We've
what
had
I'm talking about.
folks try to just arbitrarily put in speed bumps or whatever the case may be. Clearly, we expect builders to have, when they go before planning and zoning, this is what the city council initially agreed to, and suddenly we're changing this a couple of years later based on what may be just one or two people's thoughts to be able to do that. Do we charge people for that? Do we put that charge on their water bill for everyone who's a member or touches that alley? And what does that fee look like? Is it $100 a month we add to their water bill to have that alley closed for each and every citizen? Because other citizens because they've actually, it's more or less a taking of public property. I don't know the answer to these questions, so I'm gonna go ahead and send that back to land use and legislative, and that's your guys to figure out the policy on some of that stuff. But I believe that these are very critical questions that need to be asked. Those are some of my thoughts on that, Mayor.
Does that answer your questions?
No, it really does not. But anyway, I mean, he can come up with a list of things. And Mary, I shared this with you when we talked.
Talked, yes.
When we talked, we pretty much was on the same page at the end of our conversation.
You're right.
But this is things that needed to have been done before. City, we dropped the ball on that. We dropped that ball. So we need to fix that. But what I was asking you to do was to try to come up and fix that. But you never gave me any of that. You never gave me even land use and legislative spent an hour and a half on the agenda item. We got to make it clear, and it's all about transparency. That's what it's about. That the neighbors, the residents know what procedure to do. We gave them one procedure and then we snatched that right back. We did, and that survey, sir, did go out from City Hall. It did go out before you got here, sir. That survey went out. This is the second time that they have redone that survey. So what I was merely asking is that we address the issue that's on the table. Now, if you want to take it back and we answer these questions that you have now, that's fine.
Okay.
But allow me to even request it and get an answer before I'm totally ignored. That is my point this evening, and I think that those residents need some solutions on this. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So vote it up, vote it down.
Well, it's going back to what committee?
Land use and
Land use
legislative.
committee. Now, Councilwoman, one thing that we did talk about, and I'm gonna say again, talk, because no one was yelling at each other.
Oh,
but-
yeah, you
but
started off
we
real
talked,
loud.
'cause I don't understand when people on the east side have tried to do the same process and they've been told by city staff that they have to pay money to close the alley. Why, and this is in your district, I don't understand why you aren't concerned about different policies for the east side of Joliet versus the west side of Joliet.
yeah,
No,
let
no,
me
hold
answer
on,
that.
hold on a
Let me
second.
answer that
So
for
that's one of the issues I brought up with you. I think it's inconsistent, but I do think it's unfair that one alley or one individual be treated different than the rest of the city. And I think we agreed on that everyone needs to be treated the same.
Exactly, we did agree on that. And when it came to alleys on the east side, the city told them we're not doing anything to them. I've got alleys over there that full-grown trees have gone on
Right,
through.
and I know-
that people are requesting help about their alley.
Exactly.
But we don't get that on the east side.
And yet
this,
you aren't talking about that. You're talking about an alley that's paved.
nobody
that-
ever brought that to me, Mayor.
Well, you're
Not
bringing
since
it
I've
forward.
been here.
You're saying it's a problem. I agree with you.
It is a problem.
Everyone needs to be treated the same. If the city's gonna spend money and pave this particular alley, and then close it so the individuals who live in that block
That
have
was-
the only access to that alley, then do it for everybody or do it for nobody.
Listen,
It's that
that
simple.
alley was done way before I got to this seat here. Okay, just to make that clear.
I'm not blaming you for it.
It was 9 years before I even got
Betty,
here.
I'm not blaming you for any
But
of this.
here-
I just
here's
take
my
exception
point.
with you mischaracterizing the conversation.
No, I don't think it was a
It was a
mischaracterization
clear mischaracterization.
because your tone to me put me back, and you're gonna pit me against the gentleman about the alley, Mr. Sheridan. I told you that's you and John's fight. I got nothing to do
I
with
don't have
that.
a fight with John Sheridan.
And I thought that it was really weird to me that you chose to die on that hill when we've got so many other issues going.
No, I'm not dying on
I-
any hill.
I
That
just
was my,
don't want
I think you
to
missed
be
my point.
ignored.
Betty, let me talk. I think you missed the point. I'm not dying on any hill. I don't understand why you would allow for different treatment for people on the west side or people on
That
the east
is
side.
not what
That's
this is
unacceptable.
about, Mayor.
As long as I'm the mayor,
That
I'm not
is-
gonna put up with that.
That is
If
not,
you wanna
and
tolerate
you
that
know,
for your district, that's
you
your
know,
business. You can
this
answer
is
your
not what
constituents.
that's about.
It's 100% what this is
No,
about.
no, it's not. No, it's
100%.
not. No, it's not. This is one issue in a bucket of many.
It's the only issue you
But
seem
the
concerned
thing-
about.
No, because I'm concerned about it because I keep trying to get some resolution
Well, you've
for
been
it.
given the answer tonight then.
Yeah, well, if that is the resolution, I want to see all of this because he had no resolution, and we have talked several times before.
And bring
So
forward
if
the plan
this
for
is
the
it-
other alleys in your area. I'd like to see
Hey,
it.
I would love to bring everything in regarding the east side,
Bring it
but you know,
forward.
it's too heavy for you.
Okay.
Y'all,
So
you know,
that's why you're
it's
not
too
doing your
heavy. No, it's too heavy. It's
too heavy for the
because
residents.
we know what's going on that side, and so that is my thing. I wanted to make that clear, and my main point was not to be ignored and not to be bullied. That's my comment. At the end of the day, that's not me. That's not where we're gonna get along together.
Jim, you wanna go on with the agenda now?
Yes, is that where we're at, Madam Clerk?
Yes.
Okay. Position vacancies, 449-21, and that's for an assistant part-time office city clerk who sits at the front desk. She's going to go ahead and resign, so we'd like to replace that position. Next is 450-21, which is regular payroll for July 16th through 29th in the amount of $3,370,302.61. 451-21, regular payroll for July 30th to August 12th for $3,379,344.49. Number 452-21, which is an amendment to the compensation structure for crossing guards. We've had trouble retaining crossing guards and getting them to come to work, so this is gonna go ahead and help that out to be able to retain those folks. Next is 453-21, approval of proposed renewals workers' compensation broker, and that is currently Gallagher Bassett, so we're gonna be renewing them for another term. Next is 454-21, which is an award for emergency contract for the purchase of sodium hydrochloric solution to the Hawkins Water Treatment in the amount of $106,530,000.
Mayor, question.
Yes.
Jim, how long have we been with Gallagher and Associates?
I believe it's been, as long as, well, I haven't been here that long, but I'm gonna say probably,
I mean, I remember that name
Several
when I first got
years.
elected in 2010, 2011. Have we ever gone out to competitively bid these services?
yeah, I believe that we have for several other items. I know that we had for not honestly, but some insurance and other things as well, that we have done that, Councilman. But
Can we find out for tomorrow's meeting?
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Next is, on the agenda is 455-21, which is the award of a contract for the Black Road Lift Station Bridge Crane. And it uses a 4-ton overhead crane, and it was originally installed in 2012, but it was submerged in water due to catastrophic failure of the station in late 2020. And it's cheaper to buy it than to repair it. Next is the award for the contract for the East Side Water Waste Treatment Plant, 456-21, in the amount of $108,862.75. Next is 457-21, award of a contract for emergency repairs to well 5D to Lane Christensen Inc. in the amount of $117,933. And that's because that particular well failed unexpectedly. Next is the 458-21, award a contract for 2021 large sign purchase order to Traffic Control and Protection, and this is to maintain and replace roadway signs throughout the city. Next, 459-21, award a contract for the 2021 Hickory Spring Creek cleaning. This is an annual project that is done, and it's for $92,000. This is much more than what we thought. It was originally $60,000, but this is the lowest bid that we received. We have 456-21, purchase of water metering equipment from Core & Main in the amount of $747,520. And this is as we continue to replace and modernize our water metering throughout the city. Change order number 1, which is 461-21 in the amount of $7,428.32 in a payment. And that's number 2 in a final amount of $8,125. And that was for the emergency sanitary sewer replacement on Able Street. Licenses and permit applications, 463-21, and this is the denial of an issuance of a Class BG liquor license at 4802 Caton Farm Road to Graham C. Stores and Company. 464-21, denial of an issuance of a Class BG liquor license at 609 Ruby Street to Joliet Sitco. 465-21, denial of the issuance of a Class BG license at 555 East Cass Street, Mobile Gas. And 466-21, denial of the issuance of a BG liquor license at 1987 West Jefferson Street, which is a Jefferson BP. 467-21, denial of the issuance of a Class BG liquor license at 928 West Jefferson Street, PS Fuels.
Jim, about those items,
Yes,
just
sir.
a couple of them are here. Just so you're clear, I've said this to the other applicants who've come forward. My office has been consistent, Betty, this is east side or west side. I've denied all these licenses. I think they're a bad idea. It's starting with Thornton's at Collins and Jackson Street. We've had other east side establishments and west side establishments want to do it. It's not personal, it's not a reflection on you or your business, just my opinion and the liquor commissioner's opinion that these are bad for Joliet. That's why I stay consistent, I've denied them consistently. Just want to let you know.
Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, and I've been consistent too. I voted against the original one and the whole concept of having, regardless, there's no judgment against any of you gentlemen of whether you really want to sell the beer or you don't. People don't like that in their neighborhoods. So with that said, everybody knows I'm going to vote, how I'm going to vote on all 5 of these requests. I will support the denial. I am asking as the representative of District 1 that the one on Caton Farm Road, no personal insult mentioned, my residents don't want it. They don't want that kind of business going on in their district. So if you would respect that as members of this council tomorrow, please.
Thank you.
Continue on, ordinance and resolutions, 469-21, which is the ordinance associated with Federal Road annexations. And this is the issue that one lady had a question with.
I'm sorry, Kathy, that's her name.
Kathy, yes, ma'am. I believe that what she was looking at was the circle of notifications that had to be sent out to people, not necessarily the annexation, but I'm sure that the Corporation Council will be able to address that with her here shortly, right afterward, but I wanted to point that out. 471-21, which is adopt a citywide all-hazard mitigation plan. We need to do that in order to be eligible for FEMA emergency funding for various projects.
Jim?
Yes, sir.
You mean countywide? You said citywide. That says countywide.
It is countywide, I'm sorry.
So we need to have a citywide one for our own purposes,
Right.
but this is a countywide.
This is a countywide. Thank you, I stand corrected.
Jim, Daddy?
The federal government would rather the largest government entity would adopt it, and then the cities would adopt it. So this would be our citywide, as well as the countywide plan. It will allow us to go for FEMA grants, and the one grant we're looking at now is the retaining wall for the floodplain.
So what's the cost of this program?
Nothing. The county adopted it. Chief Glaskey was on that group that devised it, and the feds are getting very picky about their grants lately, so they would rather have us adopt a countywide program rather than have, 30 different,
Well, I'm not really worried about the feds. They can't decide what to order for breakfast. Greg, you were part of the process of developing this countywide. My interest solely is how it affects Joliet. Please.
So this is not a new program. The initial countywide all hazard mitigation plan was developed in 2008. Approximately every 5 years, it is revisited and brought up to the local, or the current FEMA standards. This was done again in 2020. And this is a partnership between all the communities within Will County that look at their own individual respective communities and put information into this. So this is just as much our plan as it is any other community in the county of Will. And then it's adopted as a whole, and we've not had to adopt it locally because FEMA has never required us to use this as a means to gain federal funding. But as Mr. Gaddafi stated, is they're really narrowing the scope in order for it to make it more difficult for us to get this funding. This is a no-cost item to the city, and it will allow us to apply for that grant for the wall.
So how do you view it in this final product as it pertains to the city of Joliet? Does it meet our needs?
It does, and we're one piece of the puzzle.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That concludes my remarks.
Next is public comments. Is there anyone that would like to speak under public comments this evening? Seeing none, I did receive a request for closed session. Is there a motion to go into closed session to discuss personnel, collective bargaining, land acquisition or conveyance pending or threatened litigation, after which the meeting will be adjourned?
So moved.
Second?
Been motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye?
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudron?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman? Aye. Councilwoman Reardon? Aye. Motion carried.